G'day guys, welcome back to the channel. Today, just going to do a couple of quick repots. No major work that needs doing on these trees just yet, but I want to get them out of their plastic pots into bonsai pots and a bonsai mix. We're right at the start of spring now, so these trees are just going to really start growing vigorously, and I want them to grow some decent root systems this year. And to do that, I need to get them out of their pots and into bonsai pots. So nothing too flash today. It'll just be exposing the root ball and getting them into bonsai pots. That's all I'm really doing today. First tree is a Leptospermum brachiandrum. It's a type of native Australian tea tree. They get some pretty cool flaky bark. This one's starting to get. And this one's got a pretty cool weeping habit with the branches and the leaves, so might make a nice interesting tree, hopefully. It's got some cool movement in the trunk already. I sort of tossed up about putting this one in the ground, trying to get a bit more thickness to that trunk. Would have been probably a good way to go. But I've got a lot of trees in the ground. I'm a bit concerned that in 2 or 3 years' time, I'm going to be just overwhelmed with trees that are on the verge of getting too big, that I'm going to need to pull out of the ground and pot up. And I don't really want to create more work for myself if I can help it. Because if you've seen the video, I've got, I don't know, 40 or 50 trees in the ground already. I mean, not all of them are probably going to make good bonsais, but mate, even if I get 20 trees in the next couple of years, that's a fair amount of work getting them out of the ground and getting them transferred over into bonsai pots and then having to work on them every year. So I decided to keep this one fairly small. I think once he's comfortable in the pot and growing well, I'll probably shorten back a lot of the branches and try and compact the growth in a bit, just to try and match that bit thinner trunk. But that's something that will reveal itself over time, I think. And obviously it's got to make the transition into a bonsai pot. I've found so far that this is probably the riskiest thing that I do with the trees, is getting this potting soil out of the roots and getting them into that free draining mix. I think if trees are going to be lost, it's often at this stage when we are messing with the roots. Probably doesn't hurt that I probably go in a bit gung-ho, I suppose. But I haven't lost a lot of trees at this stage. I've lost a few, yeah. I've had a few that have looked fairly stressed for a while, but for the most part, they do seem to come back. So long as they're healthy, actively growing, that's probably the important part of it, is to just make sure they've got that health. They're in a growing period, so that they can, regrow roots and repair damage and that sort of thing. Yeah, that seems to be the main thing that gets them through. Let's rake a bit more of this soil out up top here, and we'll have a look at whether he fits in the pot or not. I think the other tree will be a lot easier. I sort of did pot it up. It's in a plastic nursery pot, but I did pot it up into a free draining bonsai mix a little while back, with a view to then transferring it into a bonsai pot this spring. So that should be a pretty simple one, that one. probably doesn't look too bad. Might be some quite large roots in here that might need to be removed to let it get down into the bonsai pot a bit better. Some of these big thick roots, we want to try and remove them so that we can just sit it down in the pot a bit lower. You don't really need that big massive root that's there. This is the pot that I'm going to put it in for now. Yeah, that'll easily go down far enough. There is fairly solid root up the back there. Probably remove that too. Just going to try and get as much of this potting mix out as possible so that we can replace it with the better free draining mix. Often these potting mix ones, trees that have been in potting mix for a while, after they've been there for a while, they can be dry in the middle even if you try and keep the pots wet. You know, the soil just doesn't seem to hold moisture like it should. Free draining mix should help a lot with that, allowing the water into the center of the tree again. That'll easily fit in that pot. Give an orientation. I don't tend to worry too much about orientation in these early stages. It's just about getting it in the pot and getting it growing, getting it healthy, and we can muck around with angles and whatnot later on. But you know, if you got the time to put it at a decent angle that looks nice, yeah, go for it. And something like that probably doesn't look too bad, and we might just stick with that. The mix I'm using and the mix I've been using for a while, or I have just changed it a little, is just equal parts pumice, lava rock or scoria, and akadama. And I found some small pine chunk pieces, so I've just added that, so it's equal parts of those four things. So far I've been really happy with how everything's growing in it. Probably have to be a little bit careful if you don't keep the water up to things, they will dry out. But it's not really an issue unless you screw up the automatic waterers or forget to water the trees or something silly like that. They probably dry out a tad quicker than ones in just a normal potting mix. I'll just lift him up a little bit. Try and make sure that mix is all the way under that root ball. And then I'll throw some wires over him and tie him in. That's probably pretty good. I do have a little bit of moss here that I will go around and just try and cover some of that up, because there are quite a bit of exposed roots on the soil surface.
I won't sleep till the day I die. If you never call back, I swear I'll cry forever. Oh, forever. And maybe I'm just a little shy, but I've never been good at telling lies. Not clever. No, I'm not clever. Oh, and tell me stop and tell me go. Cause I won't ever do this on my own. I'm helpless. Oh, I'm helpless.
Alright, that's the little tea tree, little Leptospermum, brachiandrum. Give him a little turn. I would envisage that he will end up in a smaller pot eventually. Trim these branches back, try and get a nice little weeping canopy, maybe about that high down. It's a shame I don't have the patience or the desire to grow it into a thicker trunk. It probably would have looked nicer with a couple inch thick trunk, but I've got other trees that'll fulfill that. So yeah, that's that one. I'll grab the next tree. That one should be a quick one. Alright, so this one's the Queensland bottle tree that I'm going to try to grow out into that iconic bottle tree shape. I did put it into a bonsai mix not so long ago. It wasn't a great bonsai mix, so there might have been a fair bit of potting mix in there as well. Oh, you might have some big roots need cutting back by the look of that. But today I'm going to try and get him into a pot. I picked a fairly shallow pot, but just looking at those roots, I don't know if that's going to suit now. We will get the soil off and have a look. Trying to be a bit gentle with these upper roots because I want to try and retain as many of them as I can, because I'm probably going to cut these big roots right back today because we're never going to be able to put it into a small pot while they're on there. So we probably want to retain as many of these upper roots as we can, which it seems to have quite a few, which is good. Yeah, I think we'll be able to cut that without too much drama. I do think I'll need a different tool for that, but because they are thick. So we can see we've got a lot of roots radiating out from the surface, which is really good. Which I think, when I did repot it into this pot, I think I left the bottom of the pot as normal potting mix and I put a fairly gritty mix up top. And hopefully that's what's done the job of promoting some of these upper roots, because without them we wouldn't probably be able to cut this back. Now, how brutal do I want to be? Don't want to cut them off. Oh, this looks terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. Ugh. That just gets us down into the pot, sort of. I think I can probably nibble that back a bit more without, probably just use the secondaries. Without losing any root mass. Righto, that'll do. Oh no, crikey. Yes, that will definitely do. I'm going to throw it in this bad swan pot that's sort of got that beachy sort of a feel to it. Don't know if it really suits, but it's a nice pot. And the tree may look okay in it. The other thing I'm going to do today is, I think this canopy is all going to be too high. We've got this initial fork in our branches. I probably should have made the division in this one, instead of being up here, probably should have made it down lower. So I'm going to chop this one back. That one's probably not too bad. If I do cut it back at some time in the future, I'll probably leave it a little bit higher so they're not just symmetrical. But for now, I'm going to leave all the foliage on that one and just watch it and see how it goes for the next month or so at least. Make sure it's well on the road to recovery. I think it will send bulk shoots out over the next 5-6 weeks, because that's typically how this thing responds to being cut.
It's summer, it's summer. Steal my breath and remind the way. Make me tongue tied every other day. I try my best and I do okay. Let's have some fun. It's summer, it's summer.
Unfortunately, I don't have enough moss to go on this one as well, so it will just be bare. I don't think I don't really have anything. I reckon I'll cut that there, and that will send shoots out here, allowing us to get some branch division down here. Maybe I could cut this back down here later. Just trying to spread the canopy out without going too high. Ultimately, I reckon I wouldn't want to be any higher than that, so all my major branch divisions need to be down here a bit more. And I'm hoping once we build that big canopy, this will fatten out like a bottle tree. That's my hope. Anyway, that's the 2 quick repots I had to do today. Yeah, not much really more to say about them. These will just go back on the bench and we won't probably look at them for 4 or 5 months. Might do a bit of a walk around towards the end of spring, maybe early summer, just see how all these trees that I'm working on early in the season, just to see how they're going, see how they've recovered, if I've killed them or what's happened. Yeah, if that's something you'd like to see, let me know in the comments. And it's something I'll schedule in for later in the season. We'll have a bit of a look and see what's happened. Thanks for watching. Catch you on the next one.